Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deja, and today we are going to be actually doing some of the recommendations that you guys sent me and adding some bunnies to my sketchbook. I'm really excited to work with bunnies because the Artix color pencils that they sent me also have super cute bunnies, so I felt like it was all just like meant to be. But also, I haven't drawn a bunny in so long. I'm like really excited to kind of see where I'm at and see what a bunny looks like in my style today. But today we're going to be using a sketchbook that Artix sent me. I actually really like the way that their sketchbooks are set up because they have this like inner storage pocket, but even more importantly, they have the exposed binding so it doesn't have that weird like rainbow when you're trying to draw. It just lays flat and it's so nice, and the pages rip out very seamlessly. Awesome. Oh my gosh, yes, and the glitter cover. Girls, this one is for you. It's great at holding stickers. I haven't put any on, but my other Artix one does have some. And it glitters. I'm still talking about it, and the sketch is going on. That's how much I love these sketchbooks from Artix. I'll talk a little bit about it more later when we go through the giveaway details. For now, let's talk a little bit about how I actually draw a new subject the first time that I'm approaching it. The first thing that you need to be able to do is take a photo and break it down into shapes that you can replicate. Now, that might look different for you than it will for the next artist because some people need to break things down in a different way for their mind's eye to understand it. So, if you need to break it into finer shapes or different types of shapes that only your brain understands, then do that for yourself because the goal here is to create art and to learn how you best create art, not just telling yourself that you're going to do exactly what you saw a YouTuber do online. Now, as that YouTuber that you're listening to for that advice and those tips, there's definitely stuff to be learned on YouTube and from others who are in a different part of their journey than you are. Like, obviously, seeing into the POV of somebody else who's pursuing the same passion as you can be very helpful, but what I'm trying to, I guess, kind of say is that you shouldn't expect your process to be exactly the same as another artist's process. In fact, you should expect a lot of differences because there are going to be things that you like to do that another artist definitely doesn't like to do, and vice versa. Like, I really love to do all of my sketching in a color pencil. I don't necessarily use that number 2 pencil or anything like that. It's really important to me that I'm starting off with something colorful to then build up from there. Like, I just set my expectations from the very first pencil down on the page. Whereas there are people who maybe specifically like to use pen or ink, or maybe they don't want to do a sketch and they just want to go in straight up with color. Looking at you, oil pastel people. But anyways, like, it's important to just recognize the differences between yourself and the artists that you're viewing and listening to, and not just trying to become their process, but take from their process. And all of that was just from me telling you guys to break up your reference photos into shapes that you can draw. Um, I am a yapper. If I haven't made that very clear about myself, if that hasn't been clear through all my videos talking for 12 straight minutes, then hi, my name is Deja and I'm a yapper. I like to yap because it fills the silence. Do I always love to yap? No, definitely not. But with you guys, yeah, I like talking about art. I like talking about how I do things. I like to think that it could be helpful to you. But if there's something specific that you want me to yab about, feel free to drop it in the comments. Actually, speaking of dropping a comment, let's talk a little bit about this giveaway. So here's the deal. The giveaway technically goes live next Friday. In this video, I'm breaking down how I draw these bunnies, but I'll actually be using the 126 pack next Friday to color everybody in, really review the set and go through how I select my colors. This way you get the entire package of my process, how I draw and how I finish a piece through coloring. So I'm really excited to bring that to you guys, and I figure why not open open that giveaway a little bit early for the people who made it to this video first. So if you comment below what new subject you plan on drawing or what was the scariest new subject to work with, then I'll consider it an extra entry into the giveaway next week for this 126 colors. So you might as well. Okay, so we've gone through the first thing that it takes to be able to recreate a reference photo that you're working on. And that's just being able to break things down into shapes. Now, I did kind of touch on the second thing you need a little bit when I was talking about the first one. And that's just the overall idea of like acceptance and openness throughout your sketch. What the heck does that mean? It means whatever ends up being on that page, whatever you end up drawing, accepting that that was your best in that moment. Is it your best ever? Maybe, maybe not. But it was your best in that moment. Maybe it doesn't look exactly like the reference, but you should accept that this is where you're at and you should find something that you love about it so that you can go forward into your next sketch and into your next trial a little bit more confident than you left this one. I think as artists, we create this cycle where we'll get upset with how we did something and then enter the new drawing or the new sketch with a negative mindset and not so open of a mindset, which kind of just leads us into, I don't know, weird paths where we try to copy other artists or take shortcuts or just get upset with our art or draw art that we don't actually love just because we're good at drawing something else. So I think starting every piece that you're working on from a mental state of, I am going to accept whatever comes out of this. You don't need to be happy about it, but you do need to accept it and be able to move forward. That's a really healthy mindset that I didn't start to actually get into until this last year. And when I say my art practice itself has become so much easier because I'm not the first person to hate my art, I can't even describe to you the amount of confidence it gives you, as well as just the amount of peace. I didn't realize how much of a bully I was to myself until I actually started to be my own cheerleader. Like, there's a difference between actively supporting what you're doing and just giving yourself a pat on the back when you think you've done it well. So that would definitely be my second tip to starting any new type of subject. Now, my third tip that kind of branches off of the second tip is to find a space where you can grow more as an artist. So whenever you're working on something new, it's a pretty bad habit of most artists to finish up the piece and then find the things where they go, I don't really like that. I don't like that I did this. I don't like that I did that. And one thing that I felt has really changed my art journey over time was learning how to talk to myself in a way that allowed for growth. So instead of just saying, I don't like that, I've kind of tried to ex-nay that as much as possible and instead say, oh, I can definitely grow in this space. Like, for those of you guys who have been in my last two videos, fabrics and like folds, high up there on my list of things and spaces that I can grow in. So I think just the language that you talk about yourself in your art is super important, especially when you're working with a new subject. It's so important to give yourself the space and the grace to grow into something new instead of immediately being your first critic and finding things that you don't like about your art. So mindset is a major role to me and to everyone. Like, you can't just say, oh no, it doesn't affect me. Of course it does. I dare you for 1 week to be nice to yourself and your art all the time. Act like your art is a kindergartner's piece. How would you talk to a kindergartner? Why did I have such a hard time saying kindergartner? When you're talking to a 5-year-old and they show you their piece of art, you find something nice to say about it. Do that for yourself. Like, enough with the self-hate. It's just so not necessary. You're gonna find it somewhere else in the world. Don't be the first person who tells yourself no. Remind yourself that you're an artist who's always growing. It's not just you perfectly know how to make things all the time. You're going to grow as you get older, as you learn more techniques, as you decide what you do and don't like. So give yourself space for that growth, and it starts with the way you talk to yourself. Okay, now that I have retrieved some water and we are on the final compact, we're done. I'm done. Guys, I'm so excited to share with you how I actually end up coloring these bunnies next week. I had such a good time. I know you guys are always curious about how I select my colors, so we're going to go through that a little bit more and just play around with this 126 pack. So be sure to comment below so that you get your extra entry into the giveaway. I definitely don't want to see you miss out, but I will catch you next week when we finish this layout and really just dive into how I color. I hope you guys had an awesome time, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.